So today we're going to uh, have a presentation, number one, and the second one is we're going to have a lecture about public sphere. But before we're going to have a lecture, I want you to um, present your uh, street art mock-up. All right? Who wants to go first? Guys, anyone? Should I roll call? Tyrone, can you?
Oh, no. Sige, ma'am. Sige, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am, baka medyo mag-ano-ano yung signal kasi data lang gamit ko.
Okay, so mas
Okay.
mabuti mauna ka na.
Yun
Habang
nga, ma'am. Baka maputol ulit. Sige, sige. Share screen ko na lang.
sige.
Wait lang. Hmm, okay. Kita ho ba?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So, yung ginawa ko hong street art is ang inano ko pang title is Bawal Umihi Dito. Okay. So, bakit bawal umihi dito? Parang gusto ko ipakita yung Filipinos na being violators. Well, isa na yung umiihi sa kahit saan. Though maraming binabiolate yung mga Filipinos, pero ito yung isa sa natuwang idea na ginawa ko. Tsaka may story rin kasi. Kaya yun yung pinili ko. Okay, so eto ho yung yung ah, process. So, bale ma'am, dalawang medium ho sana gagamitin ko kaya lang dumating na yung in order kaya acrylic na lang, nag-acrylic na lang ako. So, yung ah, background niya, yung gray, yung minix ko ho is ultramarine blue, tas konting burnt amber, tas maraming white. Tas hindi ko masyadong pinulido para may roughness tsaka parang parang pader ba, ganun. Tapos yung next na inano ko step is yung basic color lang muna, yung flat flat lang muna ma'am. Then eto ma'am, nag-add na ako ng shadow, dark layers, tas konting details. Tas ganun din ma'am sa letterings. Nag-ano muna ako, rough paint ba tawag dun. So yan, medyo inad ko na rin ng mga texture yung shirt, tsaka yung pants niya, tsaka yung butt, tsaka yung mukha niya na rin. So yan, yun sa lettering na nakalimutan ko picturean yung sa lettering. So, bale nag-jump na ako dun sa bale ang una kong inano diyan is yellow na may halong green, tas konting yellow ochre para medyo hindi masyadong dilaw yung kulay. Though sa picture masyadong dilaw dahil sa blue siguro. Tas yun, yung sa medyo dark tone niya, yung sa lettering, mas dinamihan ko ng yellow ochre. Tas konting burnt amber para medyo mas darken pa. So yun. Tas sa huli ma'am, dinagdagan ko na rin ng final touch. So pinanghuli ko ma'am yung line art, yung black. I use black ma'am kasi para mas magmukhang ano ba tawag doon? Graffiti art na rin tsaka illustration. So ma'am, eto ma'am yung ginamit kong materials. Tas ma'am, yung additional na story pala ba't eto yung naisip ko. Kasi, well, matagal na nangyari yun. May, dun, habang namamalengke kami, tapos, may parang lalaking as in nagmamadali. Though meron namang ano dun, meron ng ah, public ano dun, CR. Mas pinili niya yung pader na may nakasulat na bawal bawal magtapon na basura, bawal umihi. Di ko alam kung bakit. So yun, yun lang yung naging ano ko na rin. Bakit yun yung ginawa? Bakit ito yung ginawa ko, ma'am? Bawal umihi dito. So
Okay.
yun lang, ma'am.
Okay. Buti hindi siya nahuli.
Ah, actually, ma'am, dami ng violators na rin eh. Tsaka ewan ko, ma'am, parang parang siguro, ma'am, ano na rin dun sa nagsulat na ba yan, na nakasulat na nga, hayaan ko na nga kayo. Kasi ma'am, nakakatawa rin kasi yung ang lapit na nung CR, yung common ano ng mga lalaki. Pero mas pinili niya pa rin dun sa pader na may nakasulat na may nakapaskil. So
Tapos
yun, ma'am.
baka mabaho yung ano, yung walang
Yun
uniform.
nga, ma'am eh. Yun nga. Tsaka ano, ma'am, yung lalakaran mo, basa. Ayun.
Okay. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Thank
Uh,
you, ma'am.
how about April?
Sige na nga po.
Wow, napilitan ah.
Hindi, ano po kasi ano, malulubat na rin kasi 'tong cellphone ko kaya go. Wait lang po, ayan ako lang. Share screen. Sana. Nakikita niyo po?
Yes.
Hmm,
Oy,
okay.
bago ka mag-start, guys, i-ano nyo, please, i-turn in nyo yung works nyo. Dalawa to, public art presentation, then meron ding mock-up exercise.
Ah, okay po.
Okay.
Ah, ito po yung title ng aking ano po, naisip. Since, yun nga po, pandemic po nga, eh, hindi naman ho ako makalabas. Ang una lang po kasing tumatak sa akin is yung mga frontliners. So, yan po yung ano po. Actually, ano siya, drawing. Drawing ko na po siya. So, nag-acrylic po ako. Actually, ano po, since ang isip ko is parang ilalagay sa wall, kung sakali. Ano po, acrylic. Pero po ano, ginamit ko po dito is acrylic then blinen ko lang po ng colored pencil para lang po makita yung hulma. Yun po. Then, yan po yung ano po, yung ano po kasi ma'am na bumabagal po kasi yung Photoshop ko eh, kaya ginanyan ko po siya.
Okay.
Kasi hindi siya pantay-pantay yung ano. Yung laki po niya is 4 feet by 12 foot. So, 48 inches times 150 inches po. Yan po yung laki. Yung height and width niya. And, nandito na po nakalagay na sa canvas. Hindi po ako sure kung ganyan ang ano. Pero, ginawa ko na rin po sa canvas.
Okay.
Then, yun nga po. Kaya po naisip ko po itong ganitong gawin yung street art ko is to ano, para maalala po yung pagiging kabayanihan nila kung paano ho sila naghihirap para sa ating mga ano, hindi frontliners. Dito po ako inspired. Inspired po ako sa mga gawa niya. Kay Sir Ron English. So, mahilig siyang mag-confuse ng people. Passion niya yun, na mag-confuse ng people. Yan,
Okay.
parang mga chibi-chibi cartoonish. Mahilig po kasi ako sa mga ganyan, yung mga cartoonish. Pero marunong din po ako mag-realism kahit papaano.
Okay, okay.
Ito po yung mga medium kung sakaling kunyari po sa isang street art na wall gagawin. Yan po, acrylic paint, acrylic brushes, yan, paint brushes, wall paint brushes, or spray paint. Yan po.
Okay.
Yan, kung sakaling ilalagay po, dyan po sa EDSA, yung halimbawa, nasa bus ako, I'm riding in a bus, then bigla akong makikita yung art na yan. Yun, doon ko po biglang maaalala na ano yung ginawa nila para sa atin. Hindi makahinga. Maalala ko po bigla yung pagiging kabayanihan nila sa atin na ngayong pandemic.
Okay.
So ito yung yung mga list na prices. So yan. Yan kinompute ko pa. Thank you. Kinompute ko pa po. Then yan lang po yung estimate budget. 700 to 8K.
Okay.
Yan po.
Okay, thank you. That's good.
Yan ako. Thank you po.
Sige. Who's next? Nawala si Maria, si Rita. Okay, who's next? Joseph? Can you go next, Joseph?
Alin po yung i-present ko po ba yung last time? Kasi di ba po nag-present na ako nung
Okay. Yung map, tapos mo na?
yes po.
Nag-present mo na? Okay.
Yung mock-up.
Oo.
Wait, yung traditional or yung parang... Sorry po? Yung alin, ma'am?
Yung traditional.
Hindi pa po. Ito na.
Okay. Yun yung i-present.
So yung sa akin, continuation from before, taking time yung title, parang refresher. And then, yun, yung progress ko po. So, gumamit ako acrylic, tapos gouache. And then, ayun, basically, ni-recreate ko lang in a traditional sense. Tapos, ito po yung final output.
Tapos, if ever ilalagay mo siya sa wall, ano nga igagamitin mo?
Spray paint, ma'am. Andito po yan.
Okay.
Yes, spray paint and acrylic po.
Alright. Thank you. Okay. Who else? Stephanie. Wala si Arlo.
Narinig po ako.
Papa, narinig ko.
Ma'am, yung i-present ko po is proposal lang rin po. Pero nakagawa po ako ng mock-up na ano eh.
Sabay mo na.
Okay, sige. So, yun po. Good afternoon, ma'am, classmates. So, ito yung title ng street art na naisip ko. So, yung title niya is nakuha ko sa kanta ni MJ, We Are the World. Kasi naisip ko na mag-fit siya dun sa art ko. So ito po yung artist statement ko. People should open their eyes and see the nature and the environment should be protected so that the younger generations can have a healthy, peaceful, and wonderful place to live in the future. So, kaya ako nasabi yan kasi may care po ako sa nature din and syempre sa mga kabataan po. So, aside po sa nature, environment, and children, na-inspire din po ako sa kanta ng Asin na masdan mo yung kapaligiran. Tapos ito yung favorite ko. Dito ko binis yung sa lyrics na ito yung gawa ko. Tapos, ito po yung mga medium na gagamitin ko if ever dun sa wall art. So, latex, paint, flat, acrylic latex, paint roller brush, and paint brushes. So, ito po yung study proposal ko. So, ginawa ko po is isang bata po. Tapos, yung umbrella, ito yung umbrella na nire-represent niya yung nature na nasisira. And yung umbrella, hindi niya na kayang i-protect yung mga kabataan kasi nga nasisira dahil napapabayaan ng mga tao yung nature natin, yung environment. Tapos ito po yung minock up ko po. So ito yung lugar. Dito lang po sa Rojales Street. So kaya ako siya napili kasi dito sa street namin, marami pong kabataan. Tapos marami pong mga puno na pinuputol. And minsan na rin po nagkaroon ng wildfire dito dahil sa sobrang init din. So, ito po yung proposed budget ko. Kaya ako po pinili yung so, yung ano po, siguro mga 6 feet po siguro to. So, yung tansya ko po is ito yung budget. Tapos, bakit acrylic latex? Kasi, mas durable siya compared sa latex. And weather resistant siya. And best po siya for the exterior application. Then yung latex kasi, ano siya, mas okay siya kung hindi. So, thank you po.
Okay, thank you. Pero hindi mo pa nagawa yung yung traditional na mock-up.
Wala pa po, ma'am. Hindi pa po kompleto kasi yung ano ko.
Okay.
Thank you
Pero
po.
you know where to turn it in na lang.
Apo, ma'am. Thank you po.
Okay. Ariel, are you ready?
Yes po.
Okay, so iba yung proposal, yung presentation na proposal.
Medyo nalito lang po ako eh. Kasi
Okay.
sabi niyo po last meeting, you wanted to see my study proposal na colored po.
Yeah. So before mo gawin na mock-up, gusto ko makita yung proposal. Then sabi ko, tapusin, kasi diba we didn't had a meeting last time because I had trouble with my internet connection. So I asked you to make it.
Sure po, bale, I'll just present po first the proposal and then following week po, saka ko na po yung gagawin yung mock-up.
So di mo pa nagagawa.
Kasi di po pa nagagawin.
Okay, sige. Pero have you presented the presentation already, di ba?
Yes po, sabi niyo po, ulitin ko po kasi gusto niyo po makita yung colored study ko po na gagawin ko po sa street art.
Okay, sige. Please present your...
Tapos maging specific po ako kung saan lugar ko po ilalagay. Kasi yung ginawa ko po last time ay kahit saan.
Okay. Please present your work.
So, hello guys, I'm back again. So, this is actually my presentation. Are women were as tough as both? As my street art proposal to. So here's my artist statement. To that man known that women can be as tough as a wolf, that they can also face tough challenges as well as men. It is about respect. It's about the respect to any form of gender or equality to all. I've decided to create this type of street art just to remind everyone it's not just about the gender inequality, but we were all equal to one another. It's either what man can do, women can also do as better as it is. So it's not right to judge anyone based on their differences. It's not on their culture, even their gender. So ito yung proposal ko. Ito yung before, you guys already seen this before. Yan yung study ko, sketch study ko about yung ano ko, sa, about sa mock-up ko, or should I say yung street art proposal ko, about a woman and a wolf. And then this one is actually my colored study. Yan ang magiging itsura ng ano, kapag pinaint ko na siya. Iniba ko na yung design dyan eh. Kasi sa kabila, parang ano, I wasn't planning for this to happen kasi dapat lang yung both eyes ng wolf saka yung ano, yung babae dapat magkaisa, parang kalahati. It's like they have the same perspective or something. Tapos parehas lang yung laban nila. Tapos ito yung colored. Mas nakakakaroon ng mas maraming emotions and interaction to the public. So, tsara kung ganyan ang design ko, it's not supposed to be happening on that wolf. Pero you guys get my point about this. So, ito yung inspiration ko. Ito yung 355. It's about women can be as tough as men. They actually killed a lot of bad guys and stop a lot of criminal. Ito naman, Wolf and the Lion. It's about women adopts a wolf who's actually as tough as her. Kaya ayun, parang parang kung kasama sila, mas malakas yung bond nila as together. Kasi ito yung one of my other inspirations din. Yung mata ng babae, yung wolf. Ito yung, if ever na ilalagay ko na sa street art, as in sa may mga walls, ito yung mga mediums na gagamitin ko. Latex paints, paint brushes, na malalaki naman syempre. Wall paint, para lang i-clear up yung mga dumi sa wall. Tapos, ito naman yung setting. For me, if ever na magpa-paint ako, pwede ako sa may BGC. Kasi nakikita natin sa pagpunta natin BGC, ang daming mga magagandang murals, ang daming street art dun. If ever may mga vacant space dun or vacant wall na pwedeng kulayan ng street art, dun ko ilalagay yung proposal para lang ma-encourage lang yung public about the situation about women rights, women issues. Kundi dyan, pwede sa mga old walls somewhere in Quezon City. Pwede sa may tabing ng LRT or sa mga malapit sa business, may mga old walls. Nakikita ko eh. Nakikita ko, doon ko lalagay yung painting ko. Doon ko sa street art. Kasi since marami naman nag-vandalize ng property din. So, why not just make it as interesting as possible for the people to enjoy? Tapos ito naman proposed budget. Yung latex painting, 595 pesos. Paintbrush, 12 pieces, 49.3 pesos. Large paint, or should I say white, it's 180 pesos. That's total 824.3 pesos. So this is my proposal. Thank you.
Okay. On the proposal, you forgot if if you're going to hire a helper to paint that big of a wall, you have to also put that in, and also the labor, the time, and the effort you spent. So you also have so
Um, yes po. Kasi po the problem is, kasi kada week or month, pepay ko dapat, ibabayaran ko yung yung magtutulong sa akin. Eh di malaman, dadagdag ko na. For example, 50
um
week.
wala,
Ganun po.
wala siya sa budget. Wala siya sa di mo siya linagay doon. That's what I'm saying. Okay?
Teka lang po, mama. I have to deal with something muna po. I'll be right back.
Who else? Rafael, can you present yours?
Okay po. Present, wait. Kita ba?
Yes.
Apo.
Zoom mo na lang.
Paano tayo full screen from, wait.
Yung plus sign.
Okay, okay.
No, yung plus sign lang.
Yung sa keyboard. Sorry kasi nag-lock yung Windows ko. Kaya sa Google Slides lang ako naka-work.
Okay na. Sige ko. Yung yung parang bar sa button sa screen.
Plus, these ones?
Yeah, plus sign. Plus sign.
Plus, okay. Zoom in lang.
Okay. That's it.
Okay na. Okay na to. So, ito yung sa akin, yung sa proposal for my street art. So, ang plano ko dito, either parang stencil or sticker. Pero magsisimula siya sa painting, sa canvas. Actually, it's, kita, is there a way ba to switch slides? Kasi ito, Photoshop mockup lang. Pero meron akong actual na work in progress na nasa canvas. Is there a way ba to Pero like, I'll show muna yung So, ito, Photoshop lang siya. So, ang artist statement ko, so ever since, yung nag-easy nga yung COVID restrictions, yung public, parang hindi na sila kasing vigilant. Like, although, nung naisip ko to, that was like, 2 weeks ago. Tapos yung cases, nasa 1,000 pa rin. Ngayon ata, less than 800. Tapos there are stocks na about face-to-face stuff, and as well as yung 100% full capacity sa workplace, I think, yung especially sa BPO industry. Tapos yun, so yung purpose ko is to remind the public na yung hindi pa tapos yung pandemya. Kasi kung makita nyo sa balita recently yung mga rally, hindi ko naman sinasabi kung kaninong political rally or kaninong party yung parang dumug-dumugan. Pero ano nga, parang guys, may pandemic pa rin. So yun, so yung inspiration ko, yung kay Banksy, yung mga nakita kong mga artwork niya na gumagamit ng parang mga classical forms of art. Tapos ginagawa niyang stencil, yung parang parts of it, hindi lang naman yung buong composition. Specifically yung Mona Lisa na may rocket launcher. Yun yung yung parang na tumatak sa akin kasi ever since yung parang mga Tumblr pag days, parang okay to So yung mahilig rin ako sa sa combat sports, sa mga UFC ganon, tsaka sa pinaka-favorite films ko yung Gladiator yung si Russell Crowe yung bida, yung Are You Not Entertained. Tapos bordado ako. So since like parang gusto ko magpatattoo ng mga gladiator, tapos this image yung kay Jean Leon Jerome Police Verso is yung parang scene sa Coliseum. Like isa to sa pinakagusto kong images ng painting. So, parang why not? Kasi parang if you see dito sa aking mock-up, yeah, like parang siguro yung frontliners tapos kaya may face mask na blue or anyone na ano, like hindi like isipin ko na lang na sige ano na lang yan, normal person na basta may face ano, just to differentiate. So, yung helmet is yun nga yung kung anong itsura ng COVID under a microscope. Tapos face mask. So yung ano, mediums used, yung kung for mural, kasi hindi ako marunong mag wheat paste. Yung nung ni-research ko yung process ni Banksy, yung parang stencil style siya pero parang wheat paste na inaano nung roller sa pader.
Mhm.
At hindi ako like I haven't done that for myself. So I don't know where to start. So pero familiar naman ako mag-paint. Tsaka pwede naman siyang parang i-mass produce like sticker paper or stuff. So ganun. So proposed setting any public space na may high foot traffic or maraming taong dumadaan para lang maalala nila na may nangyayari pa rin. So mga ganun, parks, mga mall, mga playgrounds, like ewan ko kung ospital, pero ganun. So yun, proposed budget so mga paints tapos based to sa presyo na nakita ko sa hardware at sa Lazada at Shopee. So wait, I'll show yung
Okay. Tapos yung mock-up.
yeah. Oh my gosh, sorry. It's so pixelized. May picture ako sa phone ko. Pero kinuha ko sa wait, tingnan natin kung ano, may difference ba? Pixelized na rin naman yung ano.
You have it there with you, diba? Yung painting.
Physically, yes. Wait lang, sige.
Open mo na lang yung
Yung camera, actually. Sige, thank you. Wait lang.
Hello?
Hi.
Sorry, kala ko nag-freeze na naman yung computer ko.
Lang, camera on. Check ko lang yung lighting. Okay. Diyan ba? Okay, so from malayo. Kita ba yung details from malayo?
Hindi masyado. Pero okay. So, di mo pa siya tapos?
Hindi pa. Pero kita ba yung details nung ano?
Yes.
Oh.
Yes, kita.
Yeah.
Okay.
So ito. So parang ano lang yung parang hindi siya kasing yung dun sa mock-up sa Photoshop, hindi siya magiging kasing yung parang super rendered, yung parang almost bang term din, yung parang posterized ba o threshold lang na parang siguro like up to 4 tones lang. Hindi
Mhm.
siya parang blended talaga na matindi pero parang like four tones of gray lang yung sa in terms of yung sa pagkaano nung katawan tapos flat na iba yung green dito pero mas ano pat dapat to mas saturated
Okay.
pero like yeah.
Okay. That's good. Just finished it na lang.
Okay. Sorry.
Okay.
Eh,
So
yun po.
we're done.
Yes po.
Okay, so wala si Rita. Wow daw sabi ni Steph. That's good. Just so guys, I'm going to show you. Uh, so this is your grade book. So dito ilalagay niyo yung presentation niyo, yung PowerPoint, and kasama na dito yung studies. Tapos yung mock-up exercise, dito niyo ito-turn in yung um, dito niyo ito-turn in yung traditional mock-up. Alright? And then you also, some of you didn't make the reaction paper also. Alright? Please turn it in. And then you have another exercise pa, public sphere. So some already turned in, pero yung iba wala pa. So, okay guys. So breathe in. Wait lang. Oh. We're going to discuss about art and the public sphere. So, what is the public sphere? Do you know what the public sphere is? Guys, do you have any idea what is the public sphere?
No, ma'am.
Based dun ma'am sa dalawang PowerPoint na sinend nyo, ano siya, parang area sa social life kung saan yung mga individuals nag-congregate para parang kumbaga parang magsama-sama sila to discuss yung parang mga ano ba, yung mga like hindi naman chismis, pero yung mga bagay-bagay na parang like parang problems in society. Kumbaga hindi siya parang ano bang mas specific na term sa hindi sila nagchismisan. Basta parang like para siyang message board or forum. Pero yung mga parang dinidiscuss nila is social, parang has something to do with yung mga current events like social things to do with the society.
Yes, yes. So,
Parang not necessarily or is it so basta alam ko hindi siya or sa pagkaintindi ko parang purely political ba siya or non or yeah basta either or it's political or not political.
there are different kinds of public sphere. So there are public sphere that are not political. There are also public sphere that are political. While other public spheres are, for example, have similar interests like art, like um, uh, like music and other things. So, but basically, the public sphere is parang it's a theoretical place or sphere na wherein inside of this sphere is your audience or basically the public as a whole. So that is the public sphere. Do you get it? So, ayun. We have objectives. So the objectives of this lecture is to understand what comprises the public sphere, to have a greater understanding of the elements of art, to be able to comprehend what is the use of art to and to who it is for in the public sphere, and to develop art with social awareness. So, what do you think makes a public art? Any ideas, guys?
Um, kung, ah, kung paano po pinaghirapan yung isang art
Hmm?
to show ano ba yun? To show, kung paano pinaghirapan yung isang art, ah, to to show your expression to public. Yun po.
Okay. How about you, Tyrone? You raise your hand.
It's your art speaks for the masses, tsaka more on it shouts yung mga uh, problems sa society.
Andun na eh. Pero parang may kulang pa. Anyone?
Kulang pa. Ala!
Joseph.
Public art po is art na open for the general mass. So, kahit common na taon, na-experience yung art.
Okay. Nandun na din eh.
Ano,
Wala pa.
ano ba yan?
Sino pa? What makes a public art? Anyone? We discussed this in street art. So it has a certain kind of element that makes it a public art. So,
Yung accessibility niya? Ay, sorry.
ano yun?
Yung accessibility, kung paano siya ma-view nung audience?
Malapit na doon.
It's not nasa public space? Nasa public space.
Yes, it's in the public space. That's what makes most of the time a public art. That not only of the accessibility, but also that it has to have the element of space, or it has to be in the eyes of the public. Gets nyo? So,
Yes.
so, doon na yung sinasabi nyo eh, pero kulang pa kasi you weren't able to say about the element of space.
Sayang.
So, ayan. So that's why, for example, the Ablation Statue. So what if the Ablation Statue will be moved to the Ateneo de Manila University from UP Diliman? Do you think the Ablation Statue would be the same? Guys? Yes.
Iba na meaning, ma'am.
Oh, bakit?
Ano ba yan? Andali, wala akong masabi. Wait.
Oh, call a friend.
Tulong.
April.
Try ko
Okay.
Ano, ma'am, kasi parang hindi na sanay. Kasi parang sanay ako na UP, yung ganyan yung statue sa UP.
Okay.
Ganon.
Hint. What does the Ablation Statue represent? Tyrone.
Subok ulit, ma'am. Freedom. Ayun, nasabi na. Ay, sayang. Freedom.
Naman kayo. Okay. So, sabi din ni Stephanie, freedom. So, if you're going to move it to Ateneo de Manila, do you think the symbolism of freedom would change? What do you think? Do you think it would represent the same thing when it goes to Ateneo de Manila? No, Deba? Yes, Tyrone.
Hindi, sige naman.
Ano? So, yes, Tyrone.
Hindi, ma'am, napindot. Sorry. Sorry.
Okay, so no, it won't be the same because Ateneo has its own core values and UP has its own core values, and the Oblation Statue represented this or symbolized these core values of University of the Philippines. So if you move the Oblation Statue to the Ateneo de Manila, then it won't be the same kasi one, the institution that it represented is not the same, and two, the sense, the symbolism na it represents would not also be appropriated or the same. So that's why in a public art like this one, the Oblation Statue, um, the element of space is very important. It's not only that it has to be accessible to anyone, but the space where it is, when it is put into place, and where it symbolizes is very important to public art. Gets niya ba? So that's
Yes
why
po.
that's why the Oblation Statue won't be the same. So what if same statues are placed in all UP schools? Does it affect the sculptor's intention or the statue's meaning? What do you think, guys? Like, for example, there is an Oblation Statue in UP Baguio. There is an Oblation Statue in Los Baños. There is Oblation Statue in UP Mindanao, and there is also an Oblation Statue in UP Visayas. So, do you think it's the same, or does it affect the intention or the statue's meaning?
Ah,
Same.
yes po.
For me, it's the same. Yeah.
It's the same. Why is it the same?
Kasi po yung Oblation Statue, yan po nag-represent sa University of the Philippines. Eh kung nag-present yan sa ibang school, katulad ng, let's just say San Beda, di magiging nonsense na yun. Kasi iba naman syempre yung simbolo ng San Beda sa UP.
Mm-hmm. So
It's depending on the sign po, ma'am.
yes. So basically, it depends on what institution it is, right? So, for example, in UP, the Oblation Statue represents or became the symbolism for UP. Then, if it is put in different places in the country with, but under the same institution, which is UP, or different branches, but almost the same institution, then it would still be the same, right? So that's something you have to think on. So, introducing the public sphere theory. There are three main philosophers: C. Gilgern Habermas, W.J.T. Mitchell, and Melanie Jordan. So, in a public art, space is very important. So, for example, this is the public art, and you have the space here. But within the space, you also have the public sphere. The public sphere is the people, comprises mostly of people, well, people who who is in the space, who occupies the space, who judge, critique, admires the space, and or whatever is inside the space. And in this way, there is, well, in this lesson, there is the public art. So the public sphere, we is criticizing or enjoying the public art. So this is what so this space here is the private people that come together in public, and then this private people will have an open discussion, will have and will generate also a public opinion. So to what is the public opinion for? In this lesson, we are talking about the public art. So the private people in the public sphere or in the space will um, discuss about the public art, or and then they would generate a public opinion. So this is important, especially in a democratic country or a democratic society wherein people enjoy certain limitations uh, of the power of state. Tapos there are, and especially because in a democracy there is less censorship, and we actually um, uh, enforce uh, and also we also talk about our individual rights. We also form our individual rights. So within a public space, we do not, or within a public sphere, we only do not talk about what is inside the public art, but we also talk about what is the significance of the public art, um, what is the public art for, is it important, if it if it affects the society or not, and does the public art symbolism affects those people around it, or does it not? So that is the use of the public sphere. So why do you think we need to learn the public sphere? Because within the public sphere, we see people. We actually have to see that when we put art in a public space, we are not just putting art because we like it, because this is what we feel like, or because we just want to make art. We have to be aware also that when you put art out there are certain people that would see your art, and that your art, when you put it in the public, it won't be yours anymore, but rather it is an extension of your thoughts, your expression, and that people will criticize it. People would be enlightened with the message um, you want to come across, or people will also be or people will also hate it. Period. So, in the public space or in the public sphere, um, this is uh, this is when you put art on a public space, you have the public sphere where people can come together and have collective ideas. So and sometimes these people will want to publish their opinions, and their opinions will affect how your art is viewed upon. And that is how the public sphere is very important, because within the public sphere, these individuals will have shared values, decisions, and will create potential actions if in case they don't like your art, or if they, for example, are enlightened with your artwork. For example, the Black Lives Matter movement or the Black Lives movement. The public art made people to create action on this certain um, idea wherein Black lives would matter. So this is just an example, but the public sphere could also affect, or the art in the public sphere will also affect how uh, people would think, or how people would create their own opinions. So, uh, what is then the function of art in society, guys? What do you think is the function of art in society? Do you know? Kakasabi ko lang. What do you think is the function of art in society?
To please,
What?
to please everyone for aesthetic purpose.
Okay. So I just told you that your art could also move people, could also create opinions with other, um, for example, news or other topics. For example, the Black Lives Art movement. If you create art that shows people um, about what it's like, then um, there is a tendency that you could actually move people. And one of the greatest artwork, well, it's not really an artwork, it's a form of literature. For example, here in the Philippines, the Nole Mi Tangere and El Filibusterismo. That book is a novel. Those novel inspired people to uh, have a rationalization of nationalism here in the Philippines. It encouraged or it enlightened, for example, Andres Bonifacio, who else? Andres Bonifacio, Emilio Aguinaldo, and other people to um, have to war or to defend themselves against the Spanish rule. So in that way, when you think about this literature, El Filibusterismo and No Limitangere, you could actually see how art can have a play in society. Gets nyo ba, guys?
Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
Opo.
So, okay. So let's go to history. So the primary theory of part of public sphere was by Jürgen Habermas. He's a German in 1960s. So this was from his observation of how political ideas were being debated, discussed, and made by the bourgeoisie or the elite members of the society. So these people, the elite members, the bourgeoisie, and uh, or the king's court, this is what he called the public sphere. And then during the French Revolution, this public sphere, it evolved. The rising bourgeoisie wanted to make these decisions as well, because the bourgeoisie and the elite uh, during that time, the king's court were the ones to make decisions about what prices to put to the or what how much taxes should they collect, for example, and the things that were or the laws that were made to the court, and that will affect people. But during the French Revolution, the public sphere did not stop from the king's court. It actually evolved or it spread out to more bourgeoisie, or how do you pronounce it? I don't know. But it spread out, and at that time, they realized that they wanted democracy and stuff like that. So, and that the the king's court should not be, or the decisions of the government and or of society should not be confined to the king's court. So there was a rise in the there was a rise of the bourgeoisie, and there became the French Revolution, which marked the bloody revolution of the French. And then the French, because of this, they made a democratic country, and then so that is how what happened. And then during that time, during the French Revolution, there was the print media was established, or these are your newspapers and stuff that help cultivate ideas, news, and this would help affect the decision making of the court. And so from the king's court, it went to the coffee shops, the Paris salon. So the public sphere became bigger. So hindi lang sa King's Court nila na dinidiscuss kung anong yung mga opinions nila, ganito, ganyan. But because there was the print media, newspapers and books, the news spread, and that everybody was starting to have their own opinions and stuff like that. So the public sphere in this way became bigger. So the idea that political issues can be resolved through discussion. So public sphere is formed that political issues they think can be resolved through discussion, and that there is also a belief that the government should the government's legitimacy should depend on their how they should respond to public opinion. So so public opinion then is very important when making decisions or government decisions or laws for example Duterte and his minions would sometimes rely or would be swayed by public opinion, especially during the pandemic, for example. The need of people, or the need of, or how the doctors and the government hospitals or the hospitals and or the healthcare department asked Duterte to put up a lockdown because the hospitals are getting too crowded. So Duterte responded to this opinion and this plea to the doctors and the people that he actually put on lockdown. So the legitimacy of the government depends also on public opinion. Another example is during the people power. During the people power one, there was a rising public opinion to make Ferdinand Marcos go down from the presidential seat. This is because the people didn't want the martial law anymore. There are people that get killed. There are people, and then the Philippines got into debt, for example. So and also maybe the catalyst was the death of Noynoy Aquino. Ninoy Aquino, and that the people power was made, and that the rising public opinion during the people power made Ferdinand Marcos and his family go far away to the States and stuff like that. So that is how public opinion could change the world. But the interesting bit is that advertising and art-related things, or art-related marketing, can also sway public opinion. So this is how art is very important and how art could be relevant. For example, posters during the coming election, for example, you have jingles, you have, for example, the pink ribbon and stuff like that. You have political colors, and could help, that could help uh, sway the uh, opinions of the public of which or who or which politician they would vote. So that is how art is very important. And that is also how art was before. So before the age of internet, internet came, news became easily available with the help of social media. Became easily available, and with the help of social media, it became easily shared. So way before they have people who shouts or introduce the news, for example, they have papers or posters na they put into walls. But right now, and before the Facebook became very um, popular, you have the TV, for example, you have the radio. But right now, because of the social media, we were able to get news as fast as we could, and that news could be easily shared. Sorry. But there are advantages and disadvantages with this. So advantage of social media or is that people enjoy the limitations of the coercive powers of the state, and that there is less censorship of public opinion, and you could form individual rights, and there is the inclusiveness of the public sphere. So anyone could um, join the public sphere, anyone could talk about the news and something like that. But the disadvantage is because it is easily shared, fake news could be easily shared as well. And the quality of the argument or debate has been diminished. So they are with because anyone could join the debate, or for example, when there is a topic in Facebook and there is a post, and then if you see through the comments, not everyone is um, educated, or not everyone um, as is a special has the specialty of this topic, or not everyone actually studied for this topic. Anyone can comment, even if it seems a little bit stupid or a little bit idiotic na it doesn't make any sense. So in that way, the quality of the argument has diminished because it's not as scientific or educational at this point. So that's one of the disadvantage of um, having anyone in have anyone be included in the public sphere. So, ayon. So with this, sociologists describe this as the death of public sphere. Kasi there is no exclusiveness na eh. So, it's everyone is inclusive. So, there is a death of the public sphere. Kasi, and also because there is no quality of the articles. There is no quality of the comments. So that's why they say, or sociologists say, that it is the death of the public sphere. So definition of the public sphere, like I said, it is the discursive space where private people come together as a public, and that open discussion is equivalent or will sway the public opinion. And that in the public sphere, you have the media as the facilitator of democracy. So, for example, in this, you have the formal decision-making body, and then you have the private people. So there is, because of the media, there is an exchange of communication. Anyone can reach the lawmakers or senators, for example. You could just email them in their office. You could easily search them and stuff like that. So in that way, when you can, there is an exchange of political power, and because the people go through this, there is parang they look upon the leaders. So in this way also, it brings the gap of legitimacy of the government, all thanks to media. So what is then the relationship of public sphere to art? So you have different kinds of art in public, right? You have public art and you also have street art. So in order for art to be relevant or known, it has to be seen by people. Right? Do you agree with me?
Yes, ma'am.
So the more art is talked, the more it would also move people. So in this way, the more art is out there, the more people see it, the more people talk about it, the more the chances is that more people will be interested in it, and it would generate action, or or more people would be enlightened by it, that it would generate action, for example, in a specific problem. So examples of this are the manuscripts or the Bible texts used in Christian times to propagate religion. So art was used to propagate religion. And then you also have advertisements. So there are different kinds of advertisements. For example, buying certain products, or election, for example. What else? More of commercial class, sorry. Sinash daw couldn't stay in class because interaction is spotty. All right. And then you also have street art and then public art to help people with their decisions. So public art. So because sabi ni Jürgen Habermas, he says that the economic function of public art is to increase the value of private property. For example, this one, if you get rid of this big duck here, it would just be another lake, right? It would look like a lake, not that interesting. It would look just like other kinds of lake, right? But because someone put a duck here, it actually raised the value of the property in a way that people would go there. So it became a tourist spot, for example. And in this way, it became more popular because it became a spot, you could put on commercial booths, for example, food, blah, 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 food, photo booths, uh, tents to sell, for example, because there are a lot of people. And in this way, it create a, a, a return or income return because of this one. And people also enjoy the attraction. So in a way, public art increase the value of the private property. So what are examples of public art that increase the value of private property? You have monuments, landscape art, for example, Banawi rice terraces. You have murals, sculptures, fountains, architecture, and then installations. So, ayun. So, like I said, places become a public attraction, and then because there is a public attraction, it would attract people, and if you attract people, it would generate money, and or people kasi means tourism. So from people you would get money, you would get, so you can make a business out of it. So that's why also there are certain establishment that would ask artists to create art or public art. That is also why I asked you to make a public art proposal, kasi in the future you would actually use that. And then you also have two kinds of public art. You have utopian and critical. So this is according to W.J.T. Mitchell. So utopian naman is where the ideal public sphere is through an imaginary landscape, wherein para siyang surrealistic, wherein it looked like a dreamscape, or it refers to what should be or what is missing in society. So when it's utopian, think about utopia. So it's futuristic or it's dreamlike. So it's about thinking the future that demolishes the present. And then when it's a critical public art, it disrupts the image of the pacified utopian sphere. Ito naman yung kabaliktaran ng ng utopia. Kasi it exposes contradiction and adopts the iconic. So, ayun. So, for example, this is utopian. Remember Kansas, and you have the Tin Man. And then this is the critical. So utopian, it's more on it's more about dreamlike story, like fairy tale, right? And then critical, this one naman says something about consumerism, right? On how the basket would trap people into consuming more and more and more products, for example. I mean, you cannot live without being a consumerism because everyone is a consumerist. Even a producer is a consumerist. So that is why this. So this is utopian and this is critical. And then you also have street art. So there are also advantages of street art. So it is placed in a public space where everyone can see it, and therefore everyone can participate in discussing it or what it may mean. But the thing is with street art is that it is short-lived because anyone could paint over it, anyone could whitewash it, anyone could do something about it. So, ayun. That is street art. Right. So, we're not doing this anymore. So, ayun. So, do you have any questions for me about public sphere? Huh? Guys? Do you have a question for me on public sphere?
None, ma'am. Wala naman po.
Okay. So, everything's clear?
Yes po.
So, did anyone made their public art reflection plate? I see there are 3 people who turned in. So, is it okay if I ask you to present? All right. April, can you present yours? Or is it okay? I'm going to share the screen na lang.
Ano po siya, picture lang.
Oo nga,
Picture lang.
picture lang. Picture lang.
Okay.
Do you want to share or I will?
Sige po, kayo na lang po.
Wait lang. Here. So can you tell me something about your public sphere reflection plate?
Okay. Parang ano po, connected din yung team dun sa street art ko yung una. But ito naman po is, parang ano siya, like yung Jose Rizal somewhere na ano, yung mga statue.
Mm-hmm.
Hindi ko alam kung, sa Luneta, I think.
Yes.
Yung ganun. Parang inspired din po ako doon. And then, if makikita niyo po dyan is, ano po yan eh, ang hilig ko sa frontliners. Frontliners po yan. Na, yan, yung doctor, yung delivery man, yung food server, yung soldier, sa likod po yun. And then yung newscaster, taga-update ng mga COVID sa balita. Yan po, yan yung statue. And then, yan, may globe sa taas. Means universal. Since marami naman nakakalat na COVID po. Then, yun po. Parang dun po ako inspired. So, parang kapag alimbawa po, napatayo itong statue na ganito. So, parang ano po, will give remembrance when the time comes na tapos na po yung COVID. Like, parang yung UP po. Yung, gano'n.
Okay. So
Ayun
it's
lang.
like a monument.
Yes po. Parang remembrance lang po ito.
Okay.
Kapag once na-survive na po natin yung COVID-19 or any,
Pandemic.
na dumap. Yun lang po.
Thank you. Okay, who wants to go next? Actually, tatlo lang kayo nag-turn in. Nash? Can you explain to me what this means?
Ma'am, wala po si Nash kasi nagloloko daw yung internet niya.
Oo nga pala. Okay, Ariel, you want to explain to me what this means? Guys, please comment pala here what your work means, all right? When you turn in. Ariel?
Hi, ma'am.
Hi, can you tell us something about your work?
Ito naman it's about It's about a bird carrying a peace sign. Yung ibig sabihin to ng ibon na yan, na parang free siya na mag-choose ng sarili natin path. Tapos isa na, habang lumilipad siya, free siya, syempre. Tapos meron siyang hawak na nagdadala ng peace to the world. Dahil lang, ngayon po medyo conflict kayo ng mundo natin eh. Especially sa Europe. Palaban ng Russia. Parang conflict. Kaya nag-decide ako na mag-paint. And plus, I just love some place na medyo mesmerizing naman. At nakakatulong din mag-isip na mabuti kung ano dapat magiging decision natin sa buhay.
Okay.
Kaya ay gusto ko talaga consider niya as public art for people to be inspired of their life problems.
Okay. Okay, thank you. So, anyone, may nakatapos ba na hindi naka-turn in?
Ako na lang po, ma'am.
Sige.
Wait lang po.
Okay.
So ito po yung sa akin. Basically, yung reflection ko po kasi sa public sphere is that with the help of art po, parang mas nakakatulong siyang mag-initiate ng discussion or conversation, which is a good thing po. Especially when set to the public po. Kasi parang mas lumalawak po yung conversation about it po. Yun lang naman, ma'am.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone, may nakatapos pa? O wala na? Wala na? So, okay. So, I would dismiss you today early, and I would want you to those who haven't finished, I want you to finish yung
Mock-up po.
mock-up and then yung public art and the public sphere.
Kailan po yung deadline ng mock-up mismo po, ma'am?
I didn't put a deadline, so please finish it until the end of the sem.
Okay.
All right. And then public sphere also finished. So you have 3 na: public art, mock-up, public sphere. And then I'm going to add another one, the music interpretation. All right. So this is for next week, yung music interpretation. So we would meet, but the music interpretation is very easy lang. It's just done under how many minutes? All right. Okay, and then next week we're going. So next week, prepare watercolor paper and watercolor or acrylic, whichever you want. And then next week we're also going to discuss the art of sublime. All right. All right, guys. Is that
Yes,
okay?
ma'am.
Ano po, may sizes po ba yung 1824, ganun.
Yung alin ba? Ano
Yung
tinatawag?
size ng ano po, may watercolor po, ganun.
Yung music interpretation?
Ako.
Okay lang yung A4 size. But if you can use the 10 by 15 na watercolor paper pad, it's okay then. Yes.
Salamat po. Okay po.
For the music plate po, okay lang po kahit digital art?
No.
Okay.
Alright. So we will do together the music interpretation exercise. Alright? So
Next week po.
yes, prepare your watercolor pad and we will do it under camera. Alright?
Sure po.
Okay. So
I have a question for the mock-up po. Kung ano yung kinetch po namin or kinulay namin sa may proposal study dun po sa sa public art po, di ayun na lang po yung mismo mock-up namin talaga po, ma'am.
yes, but you're going to do it traditionally.
Okay po.
Sorry. Magkaiba po yung public art at public sphere.
Yes, iba. Yung public sphere is a reflection plate. Alright? So, okay.
Sorry. Yung public art po is
yung presentation.
okay.
The public sphere is the reflection plate.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, Stephanie, anong i-change mo na medium?
Pa?
Si Steph,
Sorry.
what kind of medium do you want to change? Acrylic plus charcoal. Yes, it's okay. And then, sino pang nag-raise ng hand? Nobody. So, no questions already? Wala na? None. Okay. So, class dismissed, guys. Please do your plates